Hello, I am Đặng Hải Dương, and this is my assignment on part 2 presentation. Today, I will dive into complexities of ethical decision making through an exploration of various dilemmas that challenge our moral compass. Uh, my presentation will dive into intricacies of these dilemmas, examining the factors at play and the framework we can employ to navigate them. Uh, the, I will go through all the part of my presentation. The first one is what is Scholle problem. Next is critical analysis framework, evaluation, and reference. The first one is Scholle problem description. The Scholle problem poses a moral dilemma: diverse a runaway Scholle to kill one instead of five. It sparked debates on utilitarianism, maximizing good, versus deontological ethics, moral rules, questioning the morality of sacrificing one life to save more. This prompts exploration of ethical decision-making, challenging notion of individual life, value, and moral reasoning. Next is critical analysis framework, the framework that I use for my analysis. First one is understand a situation. The issue is in an instant where a collision is unavoidable, the autonomous car should put the life of pedestrian and dog before those its occupant. Next is identify our stakeholder, pedestrian, pairs, autonomous vehicle maker, law enforcement, and the general public and stakeholder. Next is isolate the major ethical dilemma. The major ethical dilemma is if the autonomous vehicle should prioritizing saving its occupants by crashing into barrier, potentially causing harm to pedestrians and dogs, or swerving to avoid them, risking the safety of its occupants. Next is a legal implication. The autonomous vehicle raises legal issue concerning safety, liability, and traffic law compliance. Crash-prone inquiries into safety system negligence while swerving raise questions about traffic violation and liability for harms. The outcome hinges on specific circumstance on legal regulation, shaping consequences and liability. The part is informal guidelines. We have in this part I have safety tests. There's a action prioritizing safety for all individuals involved, include occupant, pedestrian, and animal. The empathy test. Would you feel comfortable explaining your decision to someone close with you, like your mother, and will they agree? The transparency test. Could you justify your decision to a nationwide audience, being transparent about the factor? Consider the reasoning behind your actions. The integrity test. Would you be willing to advertise your decision as a mark of your integrity, even if it may not provide a market edge? The dissent test. Are individual or entities pressure you keep quiet because your decision, and why? Formal guidelines. We have two parts here. That is, check company rules. Make sure your action follow the company policies, especially regarding safety and ethics. Follow professional standards. Ensure your decision aligns with industry code of conduct and ethical guidelines, prioritizing safety and integrity. Um, Now we move to ethical principle. A few parts here. First is consequentism. Consider who will be harmed and who will benefit from each alternative. Evaluate whether if action minimizing actual and potential harm. Assess if the action promote overall good for the group, even if some harm occur. Balance personal benefits and harm with well-being of others. We move to rights and duties theory. Identify any right that may abridged by the action. such as the right of no privacy and property. Consider if any person or professional duty are neglected, such as trust, integrity, and confidentiality. Apply key categories imperatives to ensure that individuals are treated with respect as and rather than means. Reflect on principle of consistency and whether if the action is universalized. Um, Now, make a decision and planning an implementation. In the past, make a defensible ethical decision based on the analysis, considering the principle above, justify the choice of ethical principle use, resource conflict rights and duties by prioritizing those that take precedence based on situation and ethical considerations. Outline specific steps needed to implement the ethical decision effectively. Assess how major stakeholders will be affected by the action, considering both positive and negative impacts. Reflect on what should have been done or avoid initially to prevent the ethical dilemma. Consider long-term change in various areas: political, legal, technical, social, organizational, that could have prevent similar problem in the future. The last one is evaluation. The critical analysis framework evaluates the autonomous vehicle dilemma, weighting crashing into barrier versus swerving to avoid pedestrian and dogs, guided by ethical principle and consider stakeholder, consequent, and contextual factor for formal decision making and ethical reflection. And the last one is reference. Here are some reference that I use. Thank you for listening.